Hi, I'm DJ Wilma, and welcome to another episode of Starcraft Roundup, with a special edition WCS NA episode. WCS NA recently concluded, but first let's wrap up the round of 16. Tasia showed he was back at his prime abilities, taking first in his group, not dropping a single game, versus Zenith of Origins' Tudming, or ESC Gaming's Arthur. The true battle was between Arthur and Tudming. In their first series, Arthur managed to close out the series 2-1 versus Tudming. Tudming followed it up by taking the series 2-0 versus fellow countryman Maxed, giving him another opportunity to try and get out of the group. Though Tudming showed impressive play, Arthur was able to close out the group by winning the series 2-1. Within Group D, CM Storm's Polt quickly followed suit of Tasia, winning first place not dropping a single game versus IG's Shigua or Red Bull's Bomber. Crank losing the first series versus Bomber ended up beating Shigua 2-0. This gave Crank a second opportunity to be able to face Bomber for the second place in the group, but unfortunately, with impressive play, Crank was still not able to close it. This not only means that personal sponsorship gets you out of the group, but it also means contacts. I mean, am I the only one who didn't recognize him? With the conclusion of the round of 16, this meant the round of 8 was able to continue. For our first match, we saw Axiom's last representative, Alicia, face off against Red Bull's Bomber. Throughout the series, Alicia throwed all in after all in at Bomber. With Bomber being able to hold two of them, with one of them being a botched 4-gate, Alicia was able to capitalize and win throughout the series, advancing him to the semifinals. Next up was the battle between Rockout Tian and Liquid Tasia. The two players went toe-to-toe to give every single game in the best-of-5 series. Unfortunately, Tasia's harass seemed to get the better of him, as he didn't have the adequate defenses to hold off Hyun's attacks in his first two losses. In the final game, Hyun was able to defend off against Tasia's attacks, not incurring large economic losses, and was eventually able to close out the series 3-2 in victory of Hyun. The next series was the battle of the CM Storm players, Polt and Revival. Revival showed us his absolute love of Banelings in the matchup, and the complete ineffectiveness of Banelings versus Thors. Within the series, the player who managed to get the significant economic lead tended to be able to hold on to it and win the game. Unfortunately for Polt, Revival was able to take this lead within 3 of the games and close out the series 3-1. Closing out the round of 8 was the second PvP since the round of 32, consisting of Oz and Arthur. Arthur was unable to do significant damage with his 3 proxy/hidden tech build, and by the end of the series, the final battle came down to an army with Colossus versus an army without Colossus, and the Colossus won, giving Oz the 3-0 victory in the series. In the first semi-final match, we saw Alicia versus Hyun. Hyun played a very swarm, not swarm host-esque Zerg style, being able to overrun the Protoss armies in all 3 games. But the second game, Alicia seemed to be able to hold off countless armies after countless armies, but it still seemed too much for the Protoss player, and Hyun managed to win the victory 3-0. Next we saw a rematch of the IEM Season 8 Shanghai Finals, with Oz and Revival. Revival, unlike Hyun, chose a more swarm host style, both winning and losing a single game with it. Both players capitalized on specific timings to be able to take off another game from each player. The final game saw Oz adequately destroying a Swarmhouse army due to good positioning and 3 Colossus, and was able to total through Revival's armies and win the game. At last the finals, Hyun versus Oz. Though being in the same round of 16 group, this is the first time they've played this season. Hyun showed it was no laughing matter in his sweep versus Alicia, showing that he was a dominant player in the PvZ matchup. Though Oz had some uncharacteristic mistakes in many of his games, in the 2 games that he won, he showed impeccable play, but Hyun proved to be the better player, winning the series 4-2 and becoming the first WCS 2004 NA champion.